Gerard, International President of the USW. It's good to see you at the Steel Survival Strategies Conference in New York.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Obviously, big changes in Washington. I'd love to get the union perspective on that. I want to start first with regulations. Talk of changing regulations. You don't entirely agree with all of them. Workplace safety, I know, is something that you're concerned about as regulations.
Well, look, I think that it's important that two things. First and foremost, safety regulations, chemical exposures, those are some of the most important things where really workers need regulation. And then when it comes to the environment, remember the Steelworkers held the first conference on the environment in 1961. In 1961, we were saying that we needed to reduce pollution. We called it pollution in those days. And the reason was everything that went out of the plant was actually in the plant with our members first. So we had to clean up our plants, and we did that over time. So that was important. Then we went after toxic substances and cleaned that up. And so it's important that those regulatory protections stay in place, and we'll fight to protect those.
What about the issue of dumping? Do you think the Trump administration is making some progress in terms of righting some trade wrongs?
Well, look, I think that it's important that this 232 investigation on steel, we believe it's important that it be a broad investigation and that it looks at those countries that cheat and those countries that cheat, what they've been doing over time. Take, for example, China. In 2000, let's call it 12 years ago. 12 years ago, China produced about the same amount of steel as America. Now, America produces 85 million tons of steel, and the Chinese produce 1.2 billion. That's 500 million tons of steel greater than their domestic capacity. 500 million tons of excess capacity is 75% of the world's excess capacity. And the Chinese will dump that into the market, depress prices, flaunt regulations, and do those things. So they're not only exporting steel to America, they're exporting unemployment. We had 19,000 people laid off in the last year and a half because of Chinese dumping.
Is there really a future, a strong future for steelworkers in this country?
Well, look, let me say this, that there has to be. There's no major industrial economy in the planet that doesn't have a steel industry. People don't realize how important steel is. You can't make a computer without steel. You can't make a wind turbine without steel. You can't make a solar panel without aluminum. You can't make glass without sand. So all of those things that come together, if there's no steel industry, who's going to build our bridges? If there's no steel industry, who's going to make our vehicles? If there's no steel industry, who's going to fix our computers? So it's important, and it's important that America understand that we're competing against countries that don't play by the rules. The forum I'm supposed to be on is called toe-to-toe. Let me say this, the people we're privileged to represent in the United States and Canada can go toe-to-toe with anybody if they're playing by the same rules as we are.
Are you worried at all that some of the technological innovations in plants, the digitization, robots, will just further make it problematic for employers and employees in terms of hiring?
Well, look at the thing with the steel industry is that for people that don't know it, they look and they see the sparks flying and all of that, and it's very photogenic. They look in the steel yard and they got rolls of steel. They think they're all the same. Each one of them is technologically and scientifically different. You can put steel in or raw material in at one end of a steel mill. It will come out at the other end of the steel mill within 1/10 of a thousandth of an inch of deviance, never touched by human hands. The worker who's in the pulpit, who will always be needed in the pulpit, has more training than a 747 pilot. The steel industry is already very sophisticated. It's going to become more sophisticated, but at the same time, our members have the skills, the talent, and the ability to run those mills and repair those mills and fix those mills. The makeup of the workforce will change. There'll be less laborers and more technicians. There'll be less laborers and more people that know about hydraulics. There'll be more people that know about computers. So the industry will change. The jobs will become much more sophisticated, but there'll still need to be lots of jobs for steelworkers. And there needs to be a strong steel industry. If we don't have a steel industry that's strong, that jeopardizes national security. National security isn't just boats and tanks and stuff like that. It's water infrastructure, it's bridges, it's the energy grid. It's transformers. You need special transformers to move energy. That we need special steel for that. So all those things are important, and that's what we're fighting for.
Leo, Gerard, it's great speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Glad to be here.